everybody. I hope everybody's having a good evening. Man, it's been a long day for me, but I seen a story today, maybe even yesterday. I may have seen it, but I said I had to do just have like dialogue, conversation about this situation, not to make light of it. Just like what the title say, choices and decisions from two people that leads to tragic events. Choices and decisions. They sound like easy words, but they have a lot of weight to what happened in our lives. It can give you life or it could take your life. A choice or decision. Sometimes as humans we ignore the obvious. Sometimes you take in the obvious and you take it in to make a better decision. We're going to explore that today. And first, let me show you the post. Shout out to OG Run. That's why I seen it at first. And it says a 36-year-old Memphis woman is facing first-degree murder charges after police say she fatally shot a 20-year-old. I don't know how to say that guy's name. Rodarius Morton outside of her Southwest Memphis home early Thursday morning. According to an arrest affidavit, Kendra Scott returned home around 1:40 a.m. and began pounding on the front door while shouting, "Who's at my house?" She allegedly entered the residence carrying a handgun. Before we go further, this is one of the downsides of living in a single parent home. You don't have total autonomy of what's happening when you have kids because you have to work. You have to be able to provide and raise at the same time and when it's only you. Unfortunate situation. I'm just trying to bring some of the things when they say why you want to wait to have kids in order to prevent as much as you can situations like these. Investigators say Scott's juvenile daughter had invited Morton inside through the back door shortly after 1 a.m. When Scott arrived, Morton reportedly hid under the girl's bed. The daughter told police she was frightened because her mother was angry, armed, and had previously warned that she would shoot any boy she discovered inside the home. As kids, I know where I grew up at. You're taught about the responsibility of not bringing people into your home, into the house that's not supposed to be there. A man or woman, like boy or girl, you're taught that. Like you're responsible. You can't do that. But let's keep reading. Authorities say Morton eventually came out from under the bed, gathered his belongings, and attempted to leave. Although he was reportedly unarmed, Scott allegedly followed him toward the front porch while continuing to yell at him to get out. Police allege that Scott then shot Morton once in the back of the head. Officers found him dead in the front yard near the porch. A neighbor reportedly told investigators that he saw Scott enter the home with a gun, heard a single gunshot, and later heard her repeatedly saying, "I shot him," while still holding the weapon. Scott allegedly told officers, "I saw a dude under my kid's bed and I did what I had to do." She was arrested and charged with first degree murder and employing a firearm during the commission of a dangerous felony. Tragic event. Poor choices and decisions by two people. Turned tragic really fast. And we're gonna talk about that. Give me 1 second. Let me get my slides right. So we're gonna talk about that today. Once again, let's have a conversation of how to improve thinking and make better choices and decisions. I am in no way trying to make light of this situation. I am simply having a learning moment about the process of how people get to the results. We want to bridge the gap of information for our community to understand the success of time and development. We have to learn from these situations. We have to prevent these situations from happening. And though unfortunate, you have to really learn from these situations. Sometimes you got to look at it from an objective standpoint and not put the emotion into it. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not trying to say who's at fault, who's right, and who's wrong. I'm just simply talking about human choices and decisions. Sometimes emotion get involved and you can make a rash decision and it can cost you just like that. And I I'm willing to bet that she did not mean to shoot him in the back of the head. I'm willing to bet that she was emotional. She probably was waving the gun, doing that, and it went off. And it unfortunately hit him. Willing to bet that. But the unfortunate part is, how do you prove that in a court of law? And this is when it get unfortunate because the average cost of a murder trial could be 70,000 plus. Easy 70,000 plus if you have to get an attorney. So let's talk about it. I'm not taking nobody's side. I'm just talking about the thought process of people. Let's, like I say, she's arrested, a fatal shooting, man. I hope they get it resolved. So here's my first one. How does accountability factor into this? Y'all let me know. How does accountability factor throughout this story? Two people involved, really three people involved, and responsibilities and accountabilities all throughout this story. Like I said, as humans, sometimes we ignore the obvious. Sometimes you may feel like you are asterisk to the rule, and sometimes you battle the internal struggle of discipline. Boy or girl, you battle the struggle of discipline. You battle the struggle of behaving properly. You battle the struggle of being obedient even when nobody's looking. As humans, we battle with that. So let's get into it. How did they meet? That's the question. How did they meet? How allegedly he was 20, allegedly she was 12, 13, something like that. How did they meet? A lot of people in the comments are saying TikTok. Who knows? But how did they meet? Next question. Did he ask her? Did he ask her for her information? Did he ask for her information? Right? The process of meeting somebody. Next question. Did she ask for his information? When you exchange information? Now, here's one of the key things. Did he ask or verify her age? Like I said, sometimes as humans, people ignore the obvious. We're going to get into that in just a second. Did he ask or verify her age while he getting her information? He got to take accountability for that. He do. Last question on this slide. Did she ask or verify his age? Important questions to ask. Sometimes people get emotional when you start talking about accountability, but you got to ask these questions. When you meet somebody, do you verify the age of this person? Either way, can't just be one way when it's two people. You got two people making choices and decisions. Some more questions. How were the conversations prior to the invitation? They said she invited him. She invited him to the house where she was, her mother's house. How were the conversations? What was he saying to her? What was she saying to him? I know people are going to talk about the age, but you still have to ask these questions. No matter how you feel, you have to ask these questions. How were the conversation prior to the invitation? Now, this is why he will take a bunch of the accountability, probably like 80% of the accountability. Did he do his due diligence on who he was talking to? Did he do it? With him being the older person, allegedly 20, did he do his due diligence and realize who he was talking to? Because if he did, and he knew that she was 12 or 13 years old, whatever they're saying, he gonna have to take a brunt of that. Even if he didn't, I've seen it in real life. I know guys I went to school with, you get caught up in that web and you don't the age, and when they're that young, it's what the parents say. And you can go to jail for that. Statutory. That's why it's important to do due diligence on who you're talking to. Last question on this slide. Did he ignore the signs or the details of the young woman's age? There are signs and details that will tell you a person's age. Even if he made a mistake or misjudged and engaged in a conversation with a 13-year-old, there should be signs that say, wait a minute, she's not old enough. Wait a minute. She's young. This it should have been a no-go at that point. And that's why the title of this choices and decisions from two people leads to tragic events. Did he ignore the signs or details of the young woman's age? That means when that word ignored, that means he knew and he ignored it. He had knowledge of and he ignored it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Did he ignore the signs or details of the young woman's age? Now, another set of questions. Let me know in the comments. Does she have some accountability to realize this man is quite older than she is? Just asking the question. I'm not trying to villainize or I'm not trying to do, I'm just saying from an accountability standpoint. Does she have some accountability to realize that this man is quite older than she is? I'm still gonna give him most of the accountability, but she has to be responsible for her decisions and choice making as well. Second one, does she have some accountability of hiding or not telling her parent, her mother, of this relationship? Because that happens too. Did her mom have knowledge of her daughter talking to a 20-year-old? Which I'm probably sure she probably didn't. That's why it's hard when people tell you wait until you get married to have kids. This is one of the reasons why, because to minimize situations like this, nobody's judging you, nobody's saying that you live wrong. We trying to prevent you from going through situations like this woman is about to go through right now. When you live in a one parent home, it's hard for that one parent to provide, raise, and safeguard everything. It's hard. So I'm gonna ask you again. Let me know in the comments. Does she have some accountability of hiding or not telling her parent of this relationship? All right, another set of questions. Does she have some accountability of inviting him into her mother's home? Do she have to take some accountability for that? She sent him the invitation. He still takes a brunt of the accountability. I'm saying like 80, 90% at least. He has to. But does she have some accountability from her standpoint of making that choice to send him an invitation? Next question. Does he have some accountability of accepting the invitation and going into the house? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I was taught this. Man, don't be going in people's house like that. Don't do it. It ain't worth it. These kind of situations happen more than what people think. This is the one that was publicized. This kind of stuff happens. Poor choices, poor decisions made by two people, and then something tragic happens. Last question on this slide. Did he analyze the risk of the decision she was making? Did he fully analyze? If he ignored her age, if he didn't do his due diligence on who he was talking to, if he accepted the invitation, did he ever analyze the risk of the decision he was making? Think about that. As a man, you have to analyze. If you don't know now, I'm telling you, you have to analyze the risk of every decision that you make because life doesn't care if you don't know, you're still going to get the consequences or repercussions on every risk, decision, choice that you make. It's going to happen, whether you want it to or not. I'm sure if he knew that I'm going to lose my life today if I do this choice or decision, probably wouldn't have made it. If he had a crystal ball and be like, yep, you know what? I'm not going to do that. But that's why it's important to really sit down or while you're moving around in life to really think about what you're doing. What are the possible risks that could happen? Many possibilities. Whether you sell drugs, there are risk possibilities. Whether you driving fast, there are risks in the pot. The faster you drive, the higher the risk, right? If you have an accident, you can lose your life. The faster you drive, right? The risk of going into an underage girl's house that's owned by a parent. Did he factor all that in? Did he ignore the age? Do she have some accountability for inviting her into her mother's home? They said he hid up under the bed. He knew he messed up. He knew he messed up. Said the mother was beating on the door. He probably thought that he was going to walk away just with eggs smashed on his head, but it ended up costing him his life. Poor choice, poor decision made by two people, and it cost somebody their life. Unfortunate events, hate it happen, but you got to be careful about choices and decisions that you make. You have to analyze the cost. Like I say, that's my one of my life doesn't care if you don't know. You still can find out. I'm talking about life. You make a poor choice, a poor decision, life doesn't care if you analyze the risk or not. Things will happen. Tragic things will happen. Even if you didn't know. Even if you don't know no better, it can still happen. You got to be careful about choices and decisions that you make. Either side, man or woman. A lot of times, I'm gonna just put myself. I am where I am because of choices and decisions that I made. Good, bad, ugly. It don't just automatically happen. It's a process, and unfortunately, he lost his life due to poor choices and decisions. Poor choices and decisions. He lost his life. All I'm saying is, young men, anybody that watches this, man, be careful, be smart, analyze the risk. And if you ignore the obvious, you analyze the risk and say, I'm an asterisk to the rule, it's on you at that point. You can't complain. You can't say it should have went this way. You cannot pick your consequences. You can't. Unfortunate event. Hate it happen. but I wanted to have a conversation about it, about how choices and decisions from two people can lead to tragic events. Be sure to check out the Think Again podcast weekly around 6 or 7. Usually it's like around 7. Also check out CTM Sports as well. Please subscribe to CTM TV LR on all platforms. Thank you for anybody who come back and watch this later. Let me know in the comments what you think. Choices and decisions from two people lead to tragic events. Be careful. Make good choices, make good decisions, analyze the risk, and make the best possible decision. This is Mike from CTM. I'm signing out. Thanks for watching.